Oh, sorry. Yeah, the current template that we're using is to have the dialogue with only a few people from each delegation that represent the regulatory agencies and the government, the ministers as well, and the power authorities. And the idea here is to talk about new ideas to lower the risks, investment risks. The expectation is, as part of the action plan on what they're going to do, is that they're going to be talking to their local communities on how actually this thing's going to work, okay? So it's to infuse new ideas in this small setting, and then as part of the action items, action plans, they'll be working through these issues to the satisfaction of their local communities.
Thank you for that clarification. And indeed, in any kind of consultative process, it's always a major challenge when you have small groups representing large constituencies to ensure that at each stage there actually is that level of engagement and accountability. So hopefully meetings like this can serve to maybe inform those constituencies so they also know to communicate their views to their representatives at your meetings. I'd like to take at least another round of questions if in this audience there are those of you who'd like to express your views or questions. Madame, please introduce yourself.
My name is Jessie Aubrey. I'm originally from Haiti. I've been quite interested in listening to all the proposals that have come up in terms of clean energy for everybody. And, but my concern is for developing countries, the proposition is to bring them, clean energy with support of, let's say, business sector and government. But we also know that these countries need outside support too in order to implement such a project. My other concern also is population in general. They have to be informed and educated about clean energy technologies before implementation could be sustained. How do you plan to do that? Ms. Gonzaga has been speaking about NGOs, and I think the involvement of all NGOs in developing countries could be a vehicle through which education and information could come through population in general, in communities and at all societal level. And is there any plan or any strategies, to do that? Because clean energy technologies is something new, especially for developing countries. What is going to be put into action to really make people be aware of it, be part of it, and then get involved at all levels? Thank you.
Governs natural capitalism. Paul, the proposal that you seem to be floating feels a bit like rabbit and elephant stew, one rabbit, one elephant. The electric industry, no doubt, would like to have the world agree that we're going to build lots of nuclear plants and lots of coal plants. You heard John Bryson this morning, however, say he didn't think very many nuclear plants are going to be built. And even the coal boys admit you can't build a clean one today. There is no commercial carbon capture and sequestration. If you think you had a hard time talking to bird advocates in the Galapagos about windmills, try building a nuke or a coal plant and convincing them that it and its attendant fuel cycle are clean. Would AEP be willing to give up on the last century's technologies and just focus on what are genuinely clean technologies, and also try to deliver these at a scale that can truly meet the development needs of people around the globe? Because at that point, I'm with you. Other than that, now we're on opposite sides of this table.
perhaps, again, if you don't mind, we'll
Sure.
go in
I'll go
reverse order.
first.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of work done that shows, and I'm speaking in the U.S. context specifically in terms of the electric power sector. The work done by the Electric Power Research Institute, called their PRISM analysis, lays out an array of technology pathways to decarbonize the power sector by 2050. And it's a whole array of technologies that are available or expected to be available. Including in that is new nuclear and coal with carbon capture and storage. When you look at the pricing, well, let me back up. We can get to a decarbonized power sector by 2050 in a variety of paths. It's technically achievable. If you deploy the full array of technologies, the impact on cost is expected to be about 50% higher than the average cost of electricity in the United States today. If you forego either new nuclear or carbon capture and storage, the cost is 250% higher than what the average cost is today. The other comment that was made in regard to CCS, or saying that there's no technology, that's not correct. General Electric and Fluor, both two separate technologies, will sell you a carbon capture process today that they will guarantee and they will warrant. So the technology is available. In fact, the Fluor technology has been used for 20 years all around the world in hundreds and hundreds of applications. So the sense that we don't know how to do that is just wrong. It's just not correct.
Comment on a question about the importance of NGO involvement and the general capacity building and supportive activities that have to precede the actual deployment of technology. If I understood right, that's the point that you were making. And I cannot agree more. And what I would like to suggest is, like, by summarizing what you say, you're talking about the cost of delivery. In other words, you have the cost of technology, which may vary depending on the supplier, but then you also have a cost of delivery of that technology, because the institutions have to be built, capacity has to be developed, people have to be educated, various ministries have to be sensitized. Now, traditionally, this sort of buying down transaction cost role has been within the UN purview. I mean, we've been doing a lot of that with the World Bank together, and I would believe that this would remain our main area of operation. Buying down the transaction costs help to prepare the ground for the eventual private sector and the deployment of technologies. Also, there are some interesting studies and comments on the subject that are coming from UNDP, and they show consistently that if you have a renewable energy program that is properly preceded by capacity building activities, then over a longer term, it reduces the cost of deployment considerably. But at the beginning, of course, it makes the cost higher. So all in all, I agree with you. And to answer your question, yes, I think that would remain one of the main areas of the UN involvement, the World Bank involvement, the NGO, and other bilateral and multilateral donors and donor institutions. To the second question about coal I think you made this point. I don't have an answer to that, and I would hesitate taking any side in this debate, but I have a question for you. I mean, if you think it maybe it's difficult to convince people at Galapagos Island about the wind technology because of the bird concern, but it would be equally difficult to convince, say, people in Southern Africa not to use their coal. I mean, coal is a resource, and it's going to be there for some time to come. So I would imagine that within the array of technologies, we would have to still retain some space for transitional technologies. There's no escape from that.